Awesome. So I now get to sit here with an amazing Teacher of the Year recipient. We have Khayree Bey. I do apologize because it's like Kyrie Irving, right?
Yes.
Khayree Bey.
It's how the kids remember.
Yes, indeed. Listen, I appreciate you for coming in and taking some time to talk to me about some mindfulness.
Humbled and honored for the opportunity.
Listen, so tell me, you are currently working within the Colonial School District, correct?
Yes.
So tell me a little about yourself. I know you have received some awards. Let's kind of brag about you a little bit.
Thank you. I was the 2019 Shape Delaware Health Teacher of the Year.
Awesome.
Also Colonial School District's 2021 Teacher of the Year for the district. And I also won the Lieutenant Governor's Award for 2020.
Nice.
And I think that's how we kind of came across each other's path. And just kind of active in the community. Was a Marine 30 years ago, kind of
Thanks
showing
for serving
my
our
age.
country.
Thank you. I'm also on the Professional Standard Board in Delaware here, kind of trying to help and make some changes for our students, especially with the mental health being such a big issue now, especially coming out of a pandemic.
That's so major right now. And that's where I can truly appreciate what it is that you are implementing when it comes to being mindful. Now, I know there may be some folks out there that aren't aware what mindful is or the practice of it. Could you tell us a little about what mindfulness is?
Yes. Mindfulness, I know a lot of people think it's like you clear your mind and it's just for relaxation. But to be honest, mindfulness is the ability to be present, non-judgmental, and being very forgiving towards yourself and others when it comes down to it. It's a thing of not really running from your problems, but really facing them and labeling them. You know, you check in with your emotions, your thoughts, and your body sensations, and continue to breathe through them. So, and it's also not just sitting there with your eyes closed. I know a lot of people.
I was going to say, what's the difference between mindfulness and meditation?
Yes, well, meditation, mindfulness can be done without meditating.
Okay.
You can be mindful while you do the dishes. You can be mindful while you're driving. And again, it's about you being present in that moment, being non-judgmental, and being aware of what's going on. Your five senses, again, your emotions, thoughts, and body sensations.
You know, this sounds really amazing. And as you were saying, with our country going through such a major pandemic, a lot of children, just to focus on children, because you are a teacher, so many children were affected by COVID. You know, having to quarantine, and you know, many of children come from varying circumstances. So, you know, being forced to be home, you know, your home situation may not be ideal for whatever the reason may be. I think about, I had a conversation on the couch once, a few episodes back, where we talked about there are some children who maybe are of the LGBTQ plus community, and maybe they did not come out to their family, and they're being quarantined with their family. You know, maybe there are some food insecurities or abusive situations, or, you know, maybe there are just some absentee parents, and children being faced with, at such a young age, being responsible for themselves. I think having a way to be socially, emotionally responsible is very important. Give me a little feedback, because I'm kind of curious. How is it that you implement this into your everyday workings?
Well, is what it is, like all the points that you just said are very true. You have our students from the LGBTQ plus community. You have many brown and black students within Wilmington, Newcastle, and the surrounding areas, and some of our white students also, who come from some very tough backgrounds. I always say, I call it an invisible backpack. And as a teacher, you don't know what that child is coming in with, and you kind of meet them where they are at. With that being said, is what you're trying to do is kind of not only teaching them or instilling in them the mindful practice, but you must exude it yourself, because you can't teach something that you do not personally own innately. So it's a thing of, you meet the child where they're at. A lot of our kids come in with trauma, you know, and you said it. Sometimes home, the neighborhood, the community is where that trauma is. So they're looking for that positive serve and return agent. So even more than just being a mindfulness teacher, I make sure that it's relationships first.
Okay.
Because if you are not meeting that child who may need that positive adult interaction that they may not be getting at home, because trauma is kind of, the only way you can really offset trauma is having human interaction.
Yeah.
And if you're not having positive human interaction at home, that's where a lot of students missed out during the pandemic. Was school was a place as
It was
a
an
refuge.
outlet.
Yes.
Yes, I
So
understand, definitely.
many kids, and my two sons at home. One was at Temple, the other went to William Penn within the district that I teach.
Okay.
And they really missed that social interaction. Now,
Indeed.
you can sit with that and meditate all day long.
Yes.
It's not the same as going out there and having that human contact, that
It's
everyday
a big
interaction.
difference. I totally understand. So I have an 11-year-old daughter. She's an only child. So balancing work and her being home and not getting into the school building, you know, getting to mingle with her friends, and that was an outlet for her. So
Yes.
quarantine, she took it, it was a challenge for her. Now, I am curious because I would like to share some of these practices with her and to implement them into my own life. Do you have any examples that you can show me? I see here you
Yes.
have some.
And I just want to say I commend you being a mother who has a child, because it was, when we look at the students and the families, a lot of our students don't live in the traditional homes. Many are raised by relatives, single parent mothers or fathers.
Yes.
And a lot, especially the women, had to really sacrifice during this because
was
they had
a
to give
lot.
up their jobs, their careers, and that inequity that was out there, you can see, was really brought to the forefront. So I commend
appreciate
you.
that. Thank
So
you.
let me, just to show you some of the things that I have here. Is,
Okay, now this looks really cool.
this is a breathing ball.
All right.
It's kind of how I teach some of the students how to abdominally breathe.
Okay.
Because when you're really stressed out, most kids, I'm sure you've seen a child in a grocery store
Oh
and
my
they're in the
goodness.
checkout line and they're flipping out, and there's certain things that you can notice that they're going through a fight, flight, or freeze,
Yes.
which is your response to stress. So you can see your hands balling up, your shoulders going up by
Yeah,
your
tensing up.
ears, maybe
Yes.
even grinding your teeth a little bit,
My cheeks
clenching
get
our
puffy.
stomach. And when you're doing that, you're shallow breathing. So
Okay.
you're taking those shallow breaths. Those shallow breaths kind of trick your brain into believing that you are in danger. So it even keeps you
Oh, so
going more.
The chemistry within your body.
Yes,
Oh my
the
goodness.
cortisol and adrenaline. That's
Okay.
that butterfly feeling that you
Right.
get when you're nervous. It's the cortisol shutting down, because if you're actually really in a fight or flight situation, your
Those
body's
endorphins
going,
are
no need to
supposed-
digest food, no
Right.
need to ovulate, no need to repair cells. We need to survive, give as much energy
Right.
to get away, but there's no lions, tigers, or bears.
Yes. Oh
This
my
is
gosh.
you in traffic. This is you in a board meeting. This is you coming home and your child is not in the best mood, and neither are you. And
Right.
those times come. And that's when you got to put there's a space between your trigger and your reaction or response. And that
Moment of
space
pause. Okay.
needs to be extended through breathing.
Okay.
It doesn't always have to be that yogi type on all that. Just noticing your breath a couple times, giving that oxygen a chance to get back into your blood system so that you can actually start functioning correctly.
Okay.
All right? So when you do this, you want to take that space and create a little bit more so that you respond and not react. Because
Understood.
reaction are emotions
Yes.
and
You got to be
instincts.
logical and not
Right.
emotional. That's so funny. I was just having a conversation earlier today, and I was like, I just feel like I'm so emotion right now, and I'm not logic. I can't think. I'm just feeling my feelings.
So, this is
Okay.
one of the first things I teach people to do.
All right.
Is if you're going to breathe. Now, if you have allergies, I know there's this is that season. Also, you may be so stressed that only breathing through your nose may cause you more stress,
Oh.
and that's not what we want. So
Okay.
we meet people where they're at.
Alrighty.
So if you can,
All right.
take 2 deep breaths
Okay.
through your nose and out your nose. So we're going to inhale, filling our belly, and then exhaling and pushing our belly button to our spine.
Okay.
So one more time. So when you inhale, fill your belly. Inhale. Exhale, pushing your belly button to your spine. One more time with me. Inhale. Hold it and sigh it out.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
one of the reasons why you do that, right?
Yes.
When you breathe through your nose, you activate some natural things that your nose does. It's a filter, it's a humidifier, and it allows that air to, all those things don't happen when you breathe in and out your mouth, all right? And it also, kind of some of the things that I do is, you want to do the 3 planes of motion. And the 1 plane of motion is left to right, and slowly. The next would be down and back up. And don't go too far back if you have any neck issues. And then you exhale, putting your head back. And the next one would be to put your one hand on your opposite knee and kind of using that to turn, looking over your shoulder, taking a deep breath and kind of pulling yourself up almost, and then exhaling. And you can do that at your own pace while you're sitting at your desk.
Yes.
Even with my students, not all of them can do the yogi poses the best, but chair yoga is just as effective, and it allows you to get your spine to move in those 3 directions.
This is really great for those
And
Zoom
your
meetings
neck.
I sit in on.
Yes. And like I tell the kids, it's your superpower. It's something that you can do without anyone knowing.
Yes.
You know, I mean, everybody does this and they unknowingly do this, but if there's if you breathe into it while you're doing it, it can be a form of self-care. And that's
Okay.
where we need to be.
I like that. I think this is really important for our youth to get, and not really just the youth, really everyone.
Yes.
I love that this is being incorporated into the educational system. I think it's important for the children to understand how to manage their emotions and their thoughts. So practicing mindfulness, I think, listen, high five.
Thank you.
I applaud you. You know, this is major. It's awesome. I really hope that this is something that you can take into your home. And we only did a couple of practices here, but allow this to permeate into your routine and practice it. I know I will. So I really appreciate you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And we're going to go right back over to the couch, and we'll see you soon.